The eternal conflict between cosmological forces reflects the conflict within our soul. A repetitive pattern, a fractal, that Steve Varnusa wanted us to discover by leaving, as a clue, the geometric shape of the opposite triangles, a subtle way of indicating one of the 7 Kybalion principles. As above, so below. As it is inside, so outside. This conflict between the opposites, identical in nature but different in degree, has been used throughout human history to explain human behavior. Plato represented them through the conflict between the black and the white horses, between irrational and rational passions. Freud represented them through the conflict between the ID and the superego, between the most primal emotions and instincts and morality. But there is still another layer of truth that intersects with the rest and that Blizzard has used to explain its truth. Nietzsche's psychoanalysis. For the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, every individual had to go through 3 phases or stages to become the Superman. There are 3 stages that range from the inability to define and act for oneself to maximum freedom of thought and action. 3 stages that Nietzsche described through the metaphors of the camel, the lion, and the child, and that Omar Linares explains in greater depth in the video that you can find in the description. For Nietzsche, the individual represented by the camel carries a burden that he constantly laments, but that on the other hand he seeks, because he considers that this pain, that suffering, dignifies him and makes him better than he himself is causing his own condemnation.
Everyone suffers, Sylvanas, but destroying everything will not take away the pain.
Oh, you misunderstand. We're breaking a system that has always been flawed, and remaking it into one that is just.
For Nietzsche, the camel is a pack animal and represents the individual who is capable of carrying the same weight in a sustained way. What are those burdens? Are these uncontrollable events that we intend to control in some way?
From our first breath to our last, every decision is made for us. Then, the afterlife decides what eternity we must endure. We can't even choose who we couldn't control anything.
Are they ideas about how we should be? What we lack? What we are supposed to achieve?
Feeling nervous, Arthas? This is the day Arthas became a paladin. I remember it well.
Honestly, yes. I see your devotion to the light and feel doubt cloud my heart. You've taught me so much, Uther, but I sometimes wonder if I'm truly meant to walk this path.
Great expectations await you, lad. I have faith that you will exceed them all. But for now, let's spar. That should clear your mind.
It always does.
Are these other people's responsibilities that we make our own?
No. I should have listened to him. Why didn't I listen?
You sought to comfort a troubled student. None can fault you for such an act.
Tell that to all of the innocents he slaughtered. I set him on that path.
You guided him on the path of justice. He is the one who strayed from it.
Windrunner, you were defender of your people. Do you not remember?
I remember. A fool. Take her! Run!
does the individual free himself from his condition as a camel, from that beast of burden that forces itself to carry its own burden? Becoming a lion. The lion roars. It has the strength that comes from the anger of knowing that one has been illegitimately chained. The lion is the spirit that confronts traditional morality, that leaves behind its condition as a camel and becomes an enemy of that morality that had oppressed it.
Behold, Muradin, our salvation.
Frostborn. Hold, lad. There's an inscription on the dais. It's a warning. It says, "Whomsoever takes up this blade shall wield power eternal. Just as the blade rends flesh, so must power scar the spirit." Oh, I should have known. The blade is cursed. Let's get the hell out of here.
I would gladly bear any curse to save my homeland.
Oh, leave it be, Arthas. Forget this business and lead your men home.
Damn the men! Nothing shall prevent me from having my revenge, old friend. Not even you. Now, I call out to the spirits of this place. I will give anything or pay any price, if only you will help me save my people.
The light would have your kind remain obedient and stagnant. I offer the gifts of freedom and strength. I hope you remember my kindness.
In the face of the tyranny of the imposed, the possibility of rebellion appears, the rebellion of no.
Let go. Serve me.
You are nothing.
Nothing? I am a god! Before you walked this land, I ruled.
Magnificent.
Serve me, and we will rebuild my empire.
It is empowerment, euphoria, it is feeling like the owner of one's own destiny.
I don't remember the exact moment I wrested control. I do remember the rush of freedom, the clarity of purpose. When I loosed my arrow, I sought to become his judge and his executioner. I thought that if I could punish him for his crimes, I would be absolved of mine. Forgiven for the atrocities he forced me to commit against my own people.
By relinquishing that burden, the lion has to fight against a dragon, the dragon of you must. That dragon represents the force of all social morality that turns against any individual who tries to do things differently and get off the established path. When the dragon says you must, the lion answers I want.
Burn it! This was their home. And you slaughtered all of them! How could you take all those innocent lives?
This was beyond life and death. There was no other path to true freedom. How can you not see that?
I see what you are.
Murderer! Monster! Butcher!
Why can I not escape this torment?
It is the struggle of the individual who intends to affirm himself as such, and go against everything that prevents him from being who he is.
I will forge a new reality, where all shall serve us.
But the lion, if it is careless, can become a camel again, since it can end up chained to what it rejects.
I will never serve.
Still shamed by mortality. You did help restore something stolen from me. Allow me to repay you in kind.
By accepting his burden, the individual renounces the possibility of a free walk, of a free run, that would be typical of a discharged being.
Or will you accept her shattered legacy and tell us how to stop him?
Her crimes are unforgivable.
Yes.
And she... I must face the consequences.
Sometimes we try to rebel, to leave behind what hurt us, and what we do is just go to the other side.
Arthas.
Is this all that remains of him?
The last flicker of his scarred spirit, consumed in the forges of the jailer.
No crown, no throne, not even a soul left for judgment. I hated you, hunted you, and with each selfish act became you. That is my burden to bear. But your legacy is at an end. Be gone then, Arthas Menethil. May the last whisper of your name fade and be forgotten.
Oblivion offers solace. Take the gift. Take it.
For Nishtsha, the ultimate transformation of the spirit is that which makes it a child. That doesn't mean we have to infantilize ourselves, or that we value the child's lack of knowledge. What he sees in the child is his intuitive relationship with life. His free interaction with what surrounds him, free of rules, free of impediments, who uses rules that he creates on the fly according to the needs without imposing others that are external to him. The child is the spirit of Nishtsha's Superman, the leap to say yes to life regardless of its circumstances. In the child there is no longer a trace of the camel or the lion, there is no burden or any kind of discharge, there is no rejection, there is no conflict, there is overcoming, there is an intimate relationship with life.
My son. This blade does not belong to darkness. It was forged by valor. And also by honor. Its legacy and ours are with you, even here. Now, let it be finished.
Music, Plato, Freud, and Nietzsche are only examples through which the conflict between opposites is addressed. As you know, cognitive dissonance occurs when our beliefs and ideals conflict with the actions and decisions we make to achieve a desire. That is, when we let our instincts and emotions dominate us without taking into account moral and ethical values. This conflict causes suffering and discomfort. We feel that we are not really like that, and yet we are not able to accept that we were wrong because. How good it feels when we let ourselves be carried away by emotions, both positive and negative. In those moments we feel free, as if we didn't have to be bearing the burden of what is right and what is wrong. Our morality disappears, and we let go of the chains that oppress us and prevent us from being who we really are.
The breaker of chains comes.
Why are you here, Anduin? Your kingdom and your friends are awaiting your return.
My friends. The ones I almost killed. They believe my hands are clean. But they don't feel clean.
It is perilous to confuse what you are made to do with what you choose to do.
How can I not when it all blurs together? It was so horrific and exhilarating. And it sickens me to think that satisfaction may have been mine.
Ah, so that's why you've come. You fear you might not be who you thought you were.
I'm starting to wonder if I ever knew. For the first time in my life, I'm afraid that if I call on the light, it won't answer. If I've no trust in myself, how can I expect my kingdom to trust me? To put their faith in me when mine has faltered?
Must you bear that weight?
A king does not have a choice.
No choice? I thought you believed in free will.
I need time to think about many things.
Anduin, I have faced who I was and accepted what I've done. Now, the work begins.
Yes, it does. Farewell, Sylvanas Windrunner. Until our paths cross again.
Farewell, little lion.
Now you may wonder, then emotions are bad? No. Emotions, positive or negative, are just that, emotions. They do not fall into the category of good or evil. They alone do not generate any charge. That burden is created by us after returning to reality and knowing the consequences of decisions made solely because of how they made us feel, without paying attention to morality and ethics. Plato was very clear about this. If the mortal soul wants to leave the cycle of life, death, rebirth, if it wants to reach nirvana, if it wants to be free and transcend the conflict within to escape from the prison of reality.
And I will set us all free.
It was necessary to learn to guide both opposing horses, the white and the black ones.
You know the truth. Nothing is fair. Not life, not death.
That is, the mortal soul has to transcend the conflict of the opposite poles, to master the fury caused by emotions in order to free ourselves from the burdens generated by the decisions made by them.
Harness your fury. Make your hatred a weapon.
So, in this way, it will reach nirvana and leave the circle of life, death and rebirth cycle.
You will never leave the circle.
In the first part of the videos revealing the truth of the conflict of the first ones, Lord Cromwell 958 left me the following comment. Many, like him, surely did not understand why I put the intro of The Lord of the Rings beyond seeing how Zovaal's gestures, his mace and the Helm of Domination were inspired by the Dark Lord Sauron. But if you had seen Jamie Altazano's videos, you would have known the connection he made with the rings and the 7 triad chords, the 6 consonant chords and the dissonant chord, the 6 first ones and the 7th.
Los 3 acordes mayores, tónica, dominante y subdominante, fueron dados a los elfos, los más sabios de todos los seres. Y 3 acordes menores fueron dados a los enanos, que habitan en las montañas. Pero todos fueron engañados, pues había un 7º acorde, sobre la sensible, con una 3ª menor y una 5ª que solo medía 6 semitonos, el Señor Oscuro forjó en secreto un acorde inestable lleno de tensión, el único acorde de su tipo en una escala mayor, un acorde disminuido.
Your coming was foretold in the rings. The long circle is nearly complete.
This trifling skirmish is little more than a distraction. The true battle draws nigh as the circle nears completion.
As you can see, I have left absolutely nothing to chance. Everything I have been explaining to you is connected. They are layers of truth that cross over and over again to explain the same truth. Many of you know the story of the Lord of the Rings through the film, some of you will have read the books, and very few know the origin of Tolkien's universe. But the incredible thing is that even those of you who know it, during all this time, your eyes have remained closed because you do not see its connection with the origin of the universe of World of Warcraft and the first ones. But all was not lost, there was still hope. Because of all the comments left, only one realized that connection. Segaturincar. At the time I blocked his comment so as not to give you clues to avoid spoiling what was to come, since in it, Segaturincar said, the story to which he refers is found within the Silmarillion and its name is Ainulindal, which means, literally, the music of the Aina. Is it a coincidence that Ulfirim mentions the reality created by the First Ones as the Song of the First Ones? Is it a coincidence that the cipher system of the First Ones refers to the music cipher and different musical concepts? Perhaps Tolkien's story describing the creation of reality by the Aina and their music is the source of inspiration that Blizzard has used to describe the creation of reality by the First Ones and their song. Judge for yourselves.
All truths revealed. Let your eyes be opened.
There was Eru, the one who in Arda is called Elevator, and he made first the Aina, the holy ones, that were the offspring of his thought, and they were with him before aught else was made. And he spoke to them, propounding to them themes of music, and they sang before him, and he was glad. But for a long while they sang only each alone, or but few together, while the rest hearkened, for each comprehended only that part of the mind of Elevator from which he came, and in the understanding of their brethren they grew, but slowly.
These 6 forces existed in strife. Well, not strife in the way one such as you or I would see it. Opposition, surely, but whether malignant or benign is unclear. There was imbalance, until there was a need for something more.
Yet ever as they listened they came to deeper understanding, and increased in unison and harmony. And it came to pass that Elevator called together all the Aina, and declared to them a mighty theme, unfolding to them things greater and more wonderful than he had yet revealed, and the glory of its beginning and the splendor of its end amazed the Aina, so that they bowed before Elevator and were silent. Then Elevator said to them, of the theme that I have declared to you, I will now that ye make in harmony together a great music. And since I have kindled you with the flame imperishable, ye shall show forth your powers in adorning this theme, each with his own thoughts and devices, if he will. But I will sit and hearken, and be glad that through you great beauty has been wakened into song.
They came together, or were brought together, depending on how one interprets the fractal, and gave form to their design. Forged, scribed, shaped, the exact word is elusive. Each architect gave a portion of themselves, and thus the pattern was drawn.
Then the voices of the Aina, like unto harps and lutes, and pipes, and trumpets, and viols and organs, and like unto countless choirs singing with words, began to fashion the theme of Elevator to a great music. And a sound arose of endless interchanging melodies woven in harmony that passed beyond hearing into the depths and into the heights, and the places of the dwelling of Elevator were filled to overflowing. And the music and the echo of the music went out into the void, and it was not void.
As each emptiness abated and grew fuller, the pattern alone was not enough. Shapes arose within shapes, begotten by the six to beget more. 6 realms, many intersections, countless fractals.
Elevator sat listening, and for a long time it seemed good to him, for there were no faults in the music. But as the theme prospered, a desire was born in Melka's heart to weave together matters of his own imagination that were not in keeping with the theme of Elevator, for he was thus attempting to increase the power and glory of the part assigned to him.
In balance? Possibly. But that might be wrong. If 6 equal 1, then what is the other? The one outside the pattern.
A symphony of creation needs voices joined in chorus. One we possess, the other we do not.
Melka, among the Aina, had been given the greatest gifts of power and knowledge, and he had a share in all the gifts of his brothers. He had often gone alone to the empty places in search of the undying flame, for great was the desire that burned in him to give being to things of his own, and it seemed to him that Elevator did not concern herself with the void, whose nakedness made him impatient.
The research into the void here is commendable, but ultimately futile. How could you possibly understand what the Titans did not?
Melka wove some of these thoughts into the music, and immediately a discordance arose around them, and many of those who were near were discouraged. Their thoughts were confused, and the music wavered, but some began to agree their music with that of Melka rather than with the thought they had at first. Then Melka's discord spread still further, and the melodies heard before were shipwrecked in a turbulent sea of sound. But Elevator sat and listened, until it seemed as if a raging storm had broken out around the throne, as of dark waters battling each other with an infinite anger that would never be appeased.
This conflict is but a shadow of an ancient war that predated the meddling of the Titans. Infinite armies clashed in ceaseless battle. But I'm sure your little war is impressive, in its own way.
Then Elevator stood up, and the Aina saw that he was smiling, and he raised his left hand, and a new song was born in the middle of the storm, similar and yet different from the previous one, and which gained strength and had a new beauty. But Melka's discord rose roaring and fought with him, and once more there was a war of sounds more violent than before, until many of the Aina became discouraged and sang no more, and Melka once again prevailed. Again Elevator then sat up, and the Aina saw that he was serious, and Elevator raised his right hand, and behold, a third theme sprang from the confusion, and was distinct from the others. For it seemed at first sweet and soft, a mere murmur of faint sounds in delicate melodies. But it could not be extinguished and acquired power and depth. And at last it seemed that 2 pieces of music were unfolding at the same time before the seat of Elevator, completely discordant. The one was deep, vast, and beautiful, but slow and mixed with an immeasurable pain that was the main source of her beauty. Melka's music had now achieved a unity of its own, but it was shrill, vain, and infinitely repeated, and not very harmonious, for it sounded like a clamor of multiple trumpets bellowing a few notes, all in unison. And he tried to drown out the other music with a violent voice, but it seemed that Iluvatar's music somehow took hold of the most triumphant notes and wove them into its own solemn structure.
6 voices in discord. Without harmony, the anthem will be ended.
It was both 6 and 7. The 6 were one, and the 7th the other. Did they desire union? The song seemed to say otherwise. Both were, yet only one could be.
In the midst of this battle that shook the rooms of Iluvatar and shook silences that had been immutable until then, Iluvatar stood up for the 3rd time, and it was terrible to look him in the face. Then he raised both hands, and in a chord deeper than the abyss, higher than the firmament, piercing as the light of Iluvatar's eyes, the music ceased.
Discord must be quieted.
Then Iluvatar spoke, and said, Mighty are the Aina, and among them the mightiest is Melka, but let him and all the Aina know that I am Iluvatar. I will show you the things you have sung, and you will see what you have done. And you, Imelka, will see that no theme can be played that does not have its deepest source in me, and that no one can alter the music in spite of me. For he who tries will prove that he is only my instrument for the creation of still more wonderful things, which he has not imagined.
You are born of forces unseen.
Never since then have the Aina made such music as this, though it has been said that the choirs of the Aina and the sons of Iluvatar will make a still greater music before it after the end of days.
The song must not be allowed to end. Do the first ones still sing it? Truly, I do not know. But if they do not, who will?
Wallow, hollow, no, follow. The mortal shall follow.
A relic of the first ones, responding to a mortal? Impossible!
Then the themes of Iluvatar will be touched upon correctly and will have to be at the moment they appear, for all will then fully understand the intention of the one for each of the parties, and will know the understanding of others, and Iluvatar will put into their thoughts the secret fire.
They consume power, but not understanding.
Then the Aina were afraid, although they had not yet understood what Iluvatar was telling them, and Melka was filled with shame, from which a secret grudge was born. But Iluvatar stood resplendent, and turned away from the beautiful regions he had made for the Aina, and the Aina followed him. But when they came to the void, Iluvatar said to them, Behold your music! And he showed them a scene, giving them a sight where before there had been only hearing, and the Aina saw a new world made visible to them, and it was a globe in the void, and in it held, though it did not belong to the void.
Do the Naru speak of the eternal conflict? That the entire history of your world is but a fraction of the time that has passed? No?
And while they looked at it and admired each other, this world began to unfold its history, and it seemed to them that it lived and grew. And when the Aina had looked on in silence for a while, Iluvatar spoke again. Look at your music. This is your song, and each one of you will find in it, among what I have proposed to you, all the things that you have apparently invented or added. And you, Imelka, will discover the secret thoughts of your own mind and understand that they are only a part of the whole and tributaries of his glory.
The light has struck a bargain with the enemy of all.
And many other things Iluvatar said to the Aina on that occasion, and because of the memory of his words and because of the knowledge that each one had of the music that he himself had composed, the Aina know much about what was, what is, and what will be, and few things they do not see.
Just as we, from our first moment of consciousness. Know that death is the foundation of all existence. So there are beings whose nature is fundamentally different from our own.
However, there are some things that they cannot see, either alone or even in consultation with each other, for to no one but himself has Iluvatar revealed all that he has in reserve, and in every age new and unforeseen things appear, for they do not come from the past.
Long have I scoffed at what I learned of Titans, or the Void Lords, or demons of the Nether. I held Death's pantheon in higher regard, but now I know that they are just as limited. Truth lies not in one direction or another, but in their intersection.
And so it was that as this vision of the world unfolded before them, the Aina saw that it contained things they had not thought of before. And they saw with amazement the arrival of the sons of Iluvatar and the rooms prepared for them.
What if, again, this is still purely speculative, the mortal plane is not some distant corner of reality that the first ones created to supply us with souls and anima? What if it is the very nexus of existence, where death is but one of many great powers that hold sway? What would this say of mortal souls and their potential?
And they noticed that they themselves during the work of music had been busy preparing this dwelling, but not knowing that it had any other purpose than their own beauty.
All creation has a purpose.
For he alone had conceived the sons of Iluvatar, that they came with the third theme, and were not in the one that Iluvatar had originally proposed, and none of the Aina had intervened in this creation. Therefore, the more they looked at them, the more they loved them, for they were creatures distinct from themselves, strange and free, in whom they saw the mind of Iluvatar reflected anew, and they knew even then something more of the wisdom of Iluvatar, which otherwise would have remained hidden even from the Aina.
I have seen worlds bathed in the Maker's flames, their denizens fading without so much as a whimper. Entire planetary systems born and raised in the time that it takes your mortal hearts to beat once. Yet all throughout, my own heart devoid of emotion, of empathy. I have felt nothing. A million lives wasted. Had they all held within them your tenacity? Had they all loved life as you do? Perhaps it is your imperfection, that which grants you free will, that allows you to persevere against all cosmically calculated odds. You prevail where the Titan's own perfect creations have failed.
You have done well, mortals.
I've rearranged the reply code. Your planet will be spared. I cannot be certain of my own calculations anymore.
Return home, children of Azeroth.
Now the sons of Iluvatar are elves and men, the firstborn and the followers. And among all the splendors of the world, the vast halls and spaces, and the chariots of fire, Iluvatar chose for his dwelling place in the abysses of time and in the midst of the innumerable stars.
Oh, I see them. A million worlds, glittering in their perfection. But one above all others. Oh.
Oh, we have fallen. We must rebuild the final Titan. Do not forget.
It is gone. I don't remember any of it. Oh, none of them remember. The irony.
She's not the last, but the first. Drown her, and you will see.
And this dwelling may seem somewhat small to those who consider only the majesty of the Aina and not their terrible subtlety, as one who took the whole width of Arda to raise a column there and raised it until the cone of the summit was sharper than a needle, or who would consider only the immeasurable vastness of the world, which the Aina are still modeling, and not the minute precision with which they shape all things in it. But when the Aina had beheld that dwelling in a vision, and after seeing the sons of Iluvatar who appeared there, many of the most powerful among them turned in thought and desire upon that place. And of these Melkor was the chief, as he had also been at the beginning the greatest of the Aina who participated in music.
And if the 6 or 7 or, excuse my imprecision, each vie with one another to claim it, could they be driven by the unconscious knowledge that there exists some other force outside our understanding that seeks it as well?
And Melkor pretended, even to himself at first, mastering the whirlwinds of heat and cold that had come over him, that he wished to go there and arrange everything for the benefit of the sons of Iluvatar. But what he really wanted was to subdue both elves and men, for he envied the gifts that Iluvatar had promised them, and he himself desired to have subjects and servants, and to be called Lord, and to govern other wills.
The first ones had parceled out their gifts, but gave no child all of them. No wonder these offspring bickered with such incessant jealousy. Their very nature was one of denial.
But the other Aina beheld that room set in the vast spaces of the world, which the elves call Arda, the earth, and the hearts of all rejoiced in the light, and their eyes rejoiced in the contemplation of so many colours, though the noise of the sea disturbed them exceedingly. And they observed the winds and the air and the materials of which Arda was made, the iron and the stone, the silver and the gold, and many other substances, but of all these water was the one they praised the most. And the Eldar say that the echo of the music of the Aina still lives in the water, more than in any other substance on earth, and many of the sons of Iluvatar still listen insatiably to the voices of the sea, though they do not yet know what they hear.
Do you hear the melody? Can you hear their echoes?
6 seats at the high table. 6 mouths that hunger. One will consume all others.
Dissonance. A melody lost long ago.
But as the Aina looked on in rapt order, the vision faded and hid from everyone's eyes, and it seemed to them that at that moment they perceived something else, the darkness, which they had not known before except in thought.
Why, Zovaal? What drove you to this end? You preserve that which is doomed. A cosmos divided will not survive. But it is to come.
The 6 forces that pointed toward a 7th, and yet denied it.
Her dreams sing beneath the surface. Quiet now, but her voice will awaken the others.
But they had fallen in love with the beauty of the vision that came to be there, and it filled their minds, for history was not yet complete and the cycles of time not yet fully fulfilled when the vision was taken away from them. And some have said that vision ceased before the end of the dominion of men and the disappearance of the firstborn. Therefore, though music occupied all, the Veiler did not see with their eyes the later ages or the end of the world.
And if the jailer, in his act of malevolence, left behind but the most imperceptible of cracks in that pattern, then I fear what is tiny now will only grow, until the balance itself is prone to be shattered by another force applying relentless pressure. I pray that the first ones anticipated such an eventuality, that they would leave measures in place to preserve their grand design. Unless their design was never meant to endure. And that is the possibility that haunts me.
Then there was unrest among the Aina, but Iluvatar called them and said, I know what your minds desire, that what you have seen is true, not only in your thoughts, but as you are, and even others. Therefore I say, come, let these things be. And I will send the undying flame into the void, and it will become the heart of the world, and the world will be, and those among you who desire it may come down to him. Thus it came to pass that some of the Aina continue to dwell with Iluvatar beyond the confines of the world, but others, and among them many of the greatest and most beautiful, took leave of Iluvatar and descended into the world. Iluvatar imposed on them this condition, perhaps also necessary for their love, that henceforth the powers he had granted them should be limited and subject to the world, forever, until the world should be completed, so that they would be the life of the world and the world their life. And for this very reason they are called the Vela, the powers of the world.
Mortis, lumen, ordus, rhythm and structure. Vitae, umbra, tumult, improvisation, and possibility.
But when the Vela entered into Ea they were at first astounded and at a loss, for it was as if naught was yet made which they had seen in vision, and all was but on point to begin and yet unshaped, and it was dark. For the great music had been but the growth and flowering of thought in the timeless halls, and the vision only a foreshowing, but now they had entered in at the beginning of time, and the Vela perceived that the world had been but foreshadowed and foresung, and they must achieve it.
The cosmos has been shaped, but nothing is fated. Fate's touch is upon you, mortal. The song rises within you.
So began their great labors in wastes unmeasured and unexplored, and in ages uncounted and forgotten, until in the deeps of time and in the midst of the vast halls of Ea there came to be that hour and that place where was made the habitation of the children of Iluvatar. But Melka too was there from the first, and he meddled in all that was done, turning it if he might to his own desires and purposes, and he kindled great fires. When therefore earth was yet young and full of flame Melka coveted it, and he said to the other Vela, "This shall be my own kingdom, and I name it unto myself."
I alone can save you from what is to come.
All the videos published so far on my channel are the result of a long work of research and synthesis, in which different truths come together in a single truth through their intersections, their common elements. A truth that I know from Shadowlands and that Blizzard continues to expand and confirm, both in Dragonflight and the War Within. But that doesn't mean it's all said. There are still many more truths to reveal that I hope to be able to share shortly. Finally, thanks to all of you who are subscribed to the channel, and especially to all of you who have left a comment, because you are the force that has pushed me to continue when I was throwing in the towel in the face of such a video challenge. And if you've come this far, and you've been paying attention to Tolkien's truth, you'll be able to understand what a Dragonflight cinematic means and its relationship with a whisper of the ever-living statuette, the figurine in the shape of the figures that guard the Dark Portal.
Patience, patience. They may yet prove worthy of my gift. I will taste their dreams, their flesh.
This seed is everything. So many beloved souls, entrusting their fate, their hopes, to us.
Are we certain it will be safe?
Come. Here, by Elun's grace, this gift will be kept hidden from those who would wish it harm. Yet the time will come when it must leave the cradle of the dream and take its place in our world.
And when it does, its protection will fall to us.
My beloved Kaldorai, all you have suffered, all you have given, will not be in vain. This I swear to you.
What is it, my love?
Just a feeling that this time will be different.
The vassal of life disguises treachery. Beware the eyes of greed.